It amazes me when I'm talking with someone and they say to me, I don't believe in God because I don't see any evidence for his existence. Get your coffee. The other night I was having a spectacular dinner with some friends, and as we were talking, somehow we got onto the subject of transformation. Transformation in individual lives when they become followers of Christ. As a pastor, I have had the privilege of watching this transformation many times, and it never ceases to amaze me. Oftentimes, the transformation is drastic. And it is especially pronounced when it happens in the life of an individual that is older. They are more than 60 years old and they've been fairly rigid and set in their ways. And perhaps they aren't really the kind of person that you would opt to be around because they're bitter or they drink a bit too much. And it isn't that they just drink a bit too much, but they're the type of person that when they drink a bit too much, they're not the kind of person that you want to be around because they are overly sentimental, or they're kind of mean, or they have zero social grace or social awareness, and they say unkind or off-color things. There's a good chance that you are thinking of a specific person right now. It's probably someone that is a part of your family, and maybe you've even stopped praying for that person because you're pretty sure that your prayers aren't going to help because years of your prayers haven't helped so far. So what good is it going to do now? The transformation that you might hope would happen is way beyond possible, right? But I've seen this transformation. I've seen it in people I know really well. I've seen it in people who just stumble into the church that I pastor. They show up on a Thursday afternoon as I'm preparing to leave, and they yell out the window of their car, "Is this a church?" And I say, "Yeah, this is a church." And they say, "Well, when do you have services?" And I say, "Well, this Sunday at 10:30 or whatever times they are or were." And the person shows up on Sunday. And then they come the next week and the week after that and again for 6 months or a year. And then Christmas comes and they bring their adult daughter or son, and their kid pulls me aside and says, "What did you do to my dad? He's a totally different person. And you don't even realize how much of a different person he is. I stopped seeing him 3 years ago. I stopped praying for him 5 years ago. I stopped hoping that he would change many years ago." This transformation isn't rare. It actually happens a lot. And here's the thing that fascinates me. It isn't disputable. The transformation is real, and it is very tangible, and it is totally unexplainable apart from the reality that God is real and his word is powerful, and God works in people powerfully by his word and by his Holy Spirit. So it amazes me when people say, "I don't believe in God because I don't see any evidence for his existence." And I think to myself, you need to spend some time in a church with actual people that have been transformed by the power of Christ. You can't push the reality of the transformation aside. I love John chapter 9 and the story of the man born blind. He was born blind. He'd been blind his whole life. He is called in the passage a man, which means he was in all likelihood more than 20 years old, and Jesus healed him. And those people that questioned whether or not Jesus truly possessed the power of God were challenged by this very clear transformation. So they interrogated the man and his parents about this healing. And the interrogators not only questioned the man about the healing, but made accusations against the healer, Jesus, saying, "We know that this man is a sinner. He's not really from God." And the formerly blind man simply said, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. But one thing I do know, I was blind and now I see, so you'll have to wrestle with that one." And they pushed more against the formerly blind man and said, Yeah, but we don't know who this man is or where he is from. In other words, they were questioning where his power came from. And the formerly blind man said, well, it's a marvelous thing that you don't know where he's from, but let me tell you something more marvelous. He opened my eyes. I was blind and now I see. So the doubters and skeptics say, I don't see any evidence that Jesus was more than just a man. And I have to respond, well, you'll have to reckon with this. I've seen a lot of powerful transformations and a lot of people who were pretty far gone. And it seems like pretty persuasive evidence to me. Something to think about. We'll see you next time.